was Otto von Bismarck, a political genius or the most dangerous strategist in European history. This one man, with his iconic mustache and iron will, redrew the map of Europe and forged a new global power. But how did he do it? And what was the true cost of his ambition? Let's unravel the story of the Iron Chancellor, Otto von Bismarck. Born in 1815 into a family of Prussian nobles, Bismarck was no stranger to power. He was a brilliant student, but also a wild one, known more for his duels and drinking than his discipline. Yet, beneath this rebellious exterior was a razor-sharp political mind. He entered politics with one burning ambition: to unite the scattered German states under the leadership of his beloved Prussia. At the time, Germany was just a patchwork of over 30 independent kingdoms, duchies, and principalities. The idea of a single, unified German nation seemed like a distant dream to most. But for Bismarck, it was a destiny he was determined to shape. His big break came in 1862 when King Wilhelm I of Prussia appointed him as minister-president. The Prussian parliament was refusing to fund the king's army reforms. It was a political stalemate. Bismarck stepped in and delivered one of the most famous speeches in history. He declared that the great questions of the day would not be decided by speeches and majority votes. That was the mistake of 1848, but by iron and blood. The nickname Iron Chancellor was born, and Bismarck had just shown his hand. He would bypass parliament, collect the taxes, and build the army he needed, with or without their approval. This was a masterclass in what he called realpolitik, a ruthless, pragmatic approach to politics where morality takes a backseat to power in national interest. With his modernized Prussian army, Bismarck set his sights on his first target, Denmark. In 1864, Prussia, alongside Austria, went to war over the duchies of Schleswig and Holstein. It was a quick and decisive victory. This war wasn't just about gaining territory. It was a test. Bismarck tested his army's strength and, more importantly, he used the victory to create friction with his supposed ally, Austria. He knew that for Prussia to lead a united Germany, the Austrian Empire, the traditional powerhouse of Central Europe, had to be pushed out of the picture. He was setting the stage for his next, much bigger conflict. Just 2 years later, in 1866, Bismarck provoked the Austro-Prussian War. Most of Europe expected a long, drawn-out conflict. Instead, the Prussian army, with its superior technology like the needle gun and its brilliant military strategy, crushed the Austrians in just 7 weeks. The speed was shocking. But here, Bismarck showed his genius for restraint. Instead of humiliating Austria by marching on Vienna, he offered a lenient peace treaty. He didn't want a permanent enemy. He just wanted them out of German affairs. With Austria sidelined, Prussia annexed several smaller German states and formed the North German Confederation. The first half of Germany was now united under Bismarck's control. Only one major obstacle remained: France. The proud French Empire under Napoleon III would never willingly accept a powerful, unified Germany on its border. Bismarck knew this. He believed a war with France was not only necessary, but desirable. Why? Because a common enemy would ignite German nationalism and drive the independent southern states, like Bavaria and Württemberg, into Prussia's arms. He just needed the right excuse. And in 1870, he got it. A dispute over a Prussian prince being offered the Spanish throne gave Bismarck the perfect opportunity. He took a telegram from the Prussian king describing a meeting with the French ambassador and edited it. This M's dispatch was cleverly worded to sound like the French ambassador had been insulted and the king had snubbed him. Bismarck then leaked it to the press. As he predicted, public outrage exploded in both Paris and Berlin. Fueled by nationalist fervor, France declared war on Prussia. This was exactly what Bismarck wanted. The French walked right into his trap. The southern German states, seeing France as the aggressor, immediately sided with Prussia. The Franco-Prussian War was another stunning display of Prussian military might. Within months, the main French army was defeated, and Emperor Napoleon III himself was captured at the Battle of Sedan. The war culminated in a final, symbolic act of triumph and humiliation on January 18, 1871. In the hall emirs at the Palace of Versailles, very heart of France has passed, glory Wilhelm I was proclaimed German Emperor or Kaiser. the German Empire was born. Through 3 short, calculated wars, Bismarck's dream of iron and blood had become a reality. Now, as Chancellor of a united Germany, Bismarck's role shifted from a revolutionary warmonger to a conservative statesman. His new goal was to secure the peace and protect the empire he had built. He once famously said Germany was a satiated power. On the international stage, he created a complex web of alliances designed to isolate France and prevent a 2-front war. The Triple Alliance, with Austria-Hungary and Italy, was the cornerstone of this system. A masterpiece of diplomacy that kept Europe in a delicate balance of power for nearly 2 decades. He hosted the Congress of Berlin in 1878, positioning himself as the honest broker of Europe, further cementing Germany's new and powerful role. But at home, his rule was far more controversial. He saw 2 major threats to his new empire, the Catholic Church and the rising socialist movement. He launched the Kulturkampf, or culture struggle, against the Catholics, fearing their loyalty was to the Pope in Rome, not to the German state. He passed laws restricting Catholic education and appointing clergy. However, this campaign backfired, strengthening Catholic political opposition. Ever the pragmatist, Bismarck eventually abandoned the fight. He then turned his attention to the socialists, banning their meetings and publications. But he also did something extraordinary. To win over the working class and weaken the appeal of socialism, Bismarck introduced the world's first modern welfare state. In the 1880s, his government created health insurance, accident insurance, and old age pensions. It was a revolutionary move using social reform as a political weapon. He was fighting socialism with its own tools. So, was Bismarck a hero or a villain? The truth is, he was both. He was a political visionary who united a nation and gave it a central place on the world stage. He was a diplomatic genius who maintained peace through sheer force of will and intellect. But he was also an authoritarian who trampled on democracy, suppressed dissent, and glorified military power. His legacy is a complex one. The very nationalism and militarism he used to build Germany would, decades after his death, contribute to the outbreak of World War I. He created a powerful nation, but left it with a political culture that relied on strong, authoritarian leaders, a legacy that would have dark and tragic consequences in the 20th century. Otto von Bismarck, Mark W. Without a doubt, one of the most consequential figures of his time, a true master of realpolitik, whose actions shaped the very world we live in today. Thank you so much for watching. What do you think of Bismarck's legacy? Let me know in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey into history, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell for more stories about the figures who shaped our world. See you next time!